Yeah. Oh, I just got home from work. That's not a good idea.
Yes. Oh, cool.
You know, those kind of reminded me of the Honky Tonk Man's original theme before the Pile Driver album. It's totally different, but it's got similar beat to it. If you listen to them both back together, if you're a music connoisseur like Hollywood Dave Rowlands is, you might pick up on that, brother. But I digress. Dude.
We're with Cousin Luke and Cousin Butch here.
Hey, oh!
If I could lick you, D'Amato, I'd lick your ass right from here, from Carnegie, Jersey. But I can't.
Nice.
Your New York ass.
I'm driving to Jersey.
Yeah, you and your Adam Lambert concert going, but that's all. It's all good by me, brother. It's all good.
All right, we're gonna talk about a few vignettes.
Only love right here, man. Only love. Adam
Only
Lambert,
love for Cousin
Queen,
Luke and Cousin Butch.
Anybody they've licked or whacked in the day.
Well, we're gonna talk about the Bushwhackers, guys. The motto: when the Bushwhackers come to mind, what do you think?
Hey, oh,
Exactly.
I think sardines and licking kids, which in the '88 was a little different era, pre-COVID.
way pre-COVID, brother.
Just fun, and as we're gonna see in his debut, just a real shock for anybody. For fans of the sheep herders who were vicious and they bled buckets and faces all scarred up, and they got a good deal here where they could come in as faces and they could just play to the kids, and the match is obviously a lot less violent and a lot easier on the bodies. That's why they were able to have such a long career.
Right at their age.
Like
I
was surprised.
96.
Dave, they made it to the 90s, like unbelievable.
Yeah.
96 is when they made it. I think they were out for the WrestleMania 12 title match tournament. It was their last match.
Yeah.
Were they?
The Bloody Donnas. Yeah.
And remember WrestleMania 17 Battle Royal, gimmick Battle Royal, Iron Sheik had to borrow one of their belts in the
really?
backstage. Pants kept falling down.
That's amazing. Hollywood Dave, what comes to mind when you think of the Bushwhackers?
Well, actually, no one's ever said this before, but I always kind of wanted to say this, and it's never even come up on my own podcast, a 24-inch podcast, brother. That's a plug. Me and that no good Steve Bennett on there, maybe once a month, maybe once every 3 weeks. Come check us out on the Sportscasters feed. But what I thought about right away was they were the tag team replacement for George the Animal Steele, who had just stepped away from the ring due to Crohn's disease. Another shout out to Steve Bennett. And George has stepped away from the ring and become an agent. And right around that time, fall '88, and it was when the Bushwhackers end up showing up in December of '88. So it's kind of like that, crazy little fun thing for the kids, family.
The night right there. Yep.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a better match out of the Bushwhackers than you can George, but you had that phenomenal feud with Savage with George. All story right there, of course. But yeah, two ships passing by in the night, and I was entertained by them. I never thought they were going to win the titles or anything like that. Although they did come very close with the Nasty Boys on the final NBC Saturday Night's main event in April of 1991. But I mean, they were a good time. It's it's for the kids. And, yeah, I was a kid. I was 8 when they showed up, but by the time I started turning 11, 12, 13, they're still around. It's kind of like, all right, I'm growing out of them a little bit. But then of course what's old is new again, and then you get older and you want to relive your childhood, and I've been doing that for the past 20 years, so in more ways than one.
Hollywood, baby. Hollywood for a reason. All right, so there are 7 vignettes. We are not going to hit 7 vignettes. We each selected a vignette to kind of check out, just to kind of catch the vibe that they were kind of when they were presenting the Bushwhackers. And then we're going to close with their debut match review against the Bolsheviks. All right, those are the vignettes that we picked, guys. We also had a soda one. We had a sardine one. They were in the woods. They were sitting with Santa. So they had 7 total vignettes that we could have scrummed through. And
also remember when the prime time was at Busch Gardens in December of '88, they were all through with the zoo animals and everything. The gorilla would find them and stuff, and they'd run off Heenan and that kind of thing. So that was kind of cool.
The most iconic, yes.
Yeah.
Before they even had a match on TV, they stretched out those vignettes for like 2-3 months, and this MSG match, as a matter of fact, was before they even showed up on the TV.
This don't even count. Yeah, I mean, it counts to us. So, definitely counts to New Yorkers.
Well, they took kind of a risk, debuting them on MSG without, because people usually don't react, without seeing them on TV wrestling there. But the vignettes went over, so obviously, we can see they got a good reaction.
I wonder if they ever thought about bringing them in as heels and then turning them, like how George Steele was a crazy maniac heel.
Yeah.
And then then the Albano got to him and turned him. I wonder if they had that in mind. But by this time, 1988, with the vignettes, you could introduce them brand new that way. So I think it worked out.
I'm sure they loved it. A lot easier, and they didn't have to go out there and kill themselves.
Right. And they were well into their 40s by this time too.
Yeah.
This is good. It's good stuff. I definitely appreciate it more as an adult than I did as a kid. As a kid, I was just kind of like, I don't know, this isn't really for me.
Corny.
But, I've come a long way on the Bushwhackers.
You weren't even born yet, dude.
Yeah, I was. It was 89. I was 7, 8, 9.
Oh, were you? I thought you were younger than that. I'm sorry. My
wife actually recalls the Bushwhackers.
All right.
She remembers them, and she never even watched wrestling until we got together.
Well, that's the thing. Like we said on the 24-inch podcast, we did a whole show dedicated to Terry Funk. Now, obviously, I know Terry Funk is one of the top 10 greatest of all time. But if I said to a person on the street, do you know who Terry Funk is? They may say no. And if you say, Coco Beware is, they're probably going to say yeah. You know what I mean? So that's why your wife knows who the Bushwhackers are, because it's the characters that people remember.
Yep, for sure. They fall definitely in that line. All right. So, D'Amato, lead us in the charge. What was up with this match at MSG? What was your overall thoughts and vibe on that?
Well, they got a great reaction because of the vignettes, even though the people had never actually seen them wrestle. But what struck me is right away, a good setup with a good heel, jobber team, kind of which was what the Bolsheviks were at the time. But they came right in and they showed what they were right away. They came in, whacking and doing all the histrionics. They didn't waste any time. That was good. They got the crowd. They sucked them right in, and they established what they were going to be. Nothing great on the wrestling term, but just all histrionics and all the moves. Great comedy and just a good match between these two. It's a lot of kicking and punching and double clotheslines, but nothing too devastating. But they showed that they were going to bring the entertainment really hard. And my favorite spot was like towards the end of the match where it was Luke was stuck in the corner. Butch was stuck in the corner, and Luke went over to save them. And first he hits Nikolai, then he hits friggin' Boris, and then he friggin' slugs Butch. And it was just
and they just laugh about it afterwards.
Yeah, that's wrestling right there. Yeah, that was my favorite spot right there.
Yeah. Now, these guys were definitely a change up. When you're building a car, you're building a flow. You're putting the brain busters and the rockers on probably early, right? To get the crowd up. This is probably the match that you put on right before the main event, so to speak. All right, kind of give you some levity, bring the crowd down before you get to the good match.
I think it was in the first half of the show. I think, if I remember correctly, I didn't see it.
I'm just saying in general. A symbol of kind of just bringing the crowd to have some fun.
Yeah. And plus, this is the holiday show. This is the holiday show, so a lot more kids are going to be there, and definitely they ate it up. And also Lord Al on commentary. It was Lord Al, Trongard, and Hillbilly. Not the greatest trio there, but Lord Al, he ate it up. He was like jerking it to the Bushwhackers. He loved it. He's like, oh, they're unorthodox, very unorthodox. But he was like laughing his ass off. I don't even know if he was faking. I think he really liked the antics.
Hollywood, Vince must have loved this, right?
Oh, Vince ate this up. Vince got the same kind of talent. When it comes talent, same kind of
sense of humor.
Elaborate.
Humor when it comes to professional wrestling. Mostly everything else is different when it comes to us. Yeah, probably same sense of humor when it comes to wrestling. So yeah, I eat this stuff up at first, but after a while you start maybe getting a little sick of it. It wears out a little bit. But unfortunately, I did not watch the match. I screwed up my memo and I watched something else. But obviously, I've seen this card, so instead, I'll tell a little story about this night, December 30th, 1988, and we get all the live shows on the MSG network. Like D'Amato knows, where the rest of the country couldn't see these. These were just house shows. Now we all have them on tape and different things. But we have to program it, and I'm all pissed off. Like, wrestling's on tonight. We're going out as a family night. So the next thing you know, I'm 8 years old. I don't know. We're looking at the Christmas tree in New York City, the Rockefeller Center. And then all of a sudden, we go think to Little Italy to get something to eat. I see people walking by with a hacksaw Jim Duggan foam thumbs and everything. So they're coming out of the garden. So I'm like, what? I got stuck with family night with my sisters and mom and dad. Right here is where this was happening, where this was taking place. But yeah, I got to see it on tape when I got home. Randy Savage and Bad News Brown was the main event on this night. And I also got to say about the matches, D'Amato's got to be one of the Bolsheviks last for about a year. Then they make that return. They return, job out to the Hearts at WrestleMania 6, and then they turn Nikolai face. But
they were actually the perfect opponent for the Bushwhackers.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal was with Nikolai. Why he left for a year. I don't know why. That's something good to look into, because he was such a mainstay in WWF, Nikolai Volkov. But it's so cool that these guys, like you said, hadn't even had a TV match yet, right? But the whole crowd, the whole Madison Square Garden, 18,000 fans know who they are because of those vignettes. That's something that could be missing today, or even something that could have been missing 20 years ago. They just throw somebody out there and you can hear a penny drop because nobody knows who it is. You know what I mean? But they got used to these characters like you would get used to a character on a sitcom. So boom, they come out and the place goes wild. They know what they're all about. They know that they're like the Three Stooges or something like that. They're comedy duo. And,
but they really seized the moment. They didn't come in with rest holds and anything. They showed all that stuff, and they got over there. That marching,
ram, sure.
Yeah, and then Nikolai took more bumps in this match than he has since since the Hogan match.
Nikolai had a way of falling down and went like in 3 steps. You know what I mean? First you go down to a knee, then you go down to his butt, then he go down to his back instead of taking just a flat back bump. So Nikolai had his process there.
They never came up with a name for that move though. Their whatever, the double stomach break or whatever. They should have come up with like some fancy the whack job or whatever the hell.
Yeah, like it's a reverse backbreaker, I would say, right? Double reverse backbreaker, but they wouldn't have called it that. They should have had a name for it. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't say like stomach breaker or something stupid, but yeah, they should have had like the whack job or whatever the hell they.
And they were big with the Hasbro figures. Everybody had the Bushwhackers, right? Either one of them laying around.
Looking at them right now, brother.
Right, there you go. And they almost got LJNs. They were in that very last line that never came out, that never got produced. We would have gotten the Bushwhackers. Yeah. So
But the MSG crowd ate them up. When you get the MSG crowd like that, you knew they were on there. And I don't think that this was before they didn't have the entrance music yet. The little corny, like kind of like a childlike music, but they
just came out, like I said before. It was like it kind of reminded me of the Honky Tonk Man's first theme, not the one from Pile Driver, the one before that. If it's like a slowed down version of that without the words. But they came out to no music, nothing at all, not even like a generic. No, I haven't seen this card in several years. I should have watched it, but I did not.
Yeah, but it was about a 2-second entrance anyway. They came right in and started kicking a whack.
Oh, I think I remember that. They kind of okay. Because even at the Royal Rumble, they were kind of like doing like the march, but they were like running with it, not like
they didn't have their cadence down yet.
They didn't have it down yet. Yeah.
The best was when Jesse would go, there they are, the marching morons.
Yeah, isn't it funny how when the Sheik came back as Colonel Mustafa, he did the same thing? Yeah. Like that's like totally not a Vince thing. Like Vince, you would think would stop him and no, the Bushwhackers do that. You can't do that. Like, I don't know if that was some kind of a rib or I mean, obviously Vince is calling his matches, so he's seeing the Sheik. I know it's some kind of a military march, but I mean, it's very, very close.
Yeah, Sheik may have needed that to keep a balance.
And he wore
so top heavy. He had to bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, and he wore basically their same attire too.
Well, he borrowed their belt at WrestleMania 17. We learned earlier.
Yeah, so. There you go.
Yeah.
He's the third.
He was used to it.
He's the third Bushwhacker. I wonder if fuck them or not.
The cargo pants, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, both you motherfuckers have humbled me into loving the Bushwhackers, and I appreciate it.
I love the Bushwhacker.
Dave and Johnny, thanks as always, guys.
Thanks for having us again, man. Out to the tune, brother. There we go. Put him up. Even if he did just come out of work. Oh, my word. Oh. I'm just
later, boys.
All right.